What was hidden inside this 4,500-year-old pyramid, standing 480 feet above the ground world, had not known for millennia. Researchers decided to send a robot equipped with a small camera inside the pyramid to explore its deepest and most ancient passages hidden within its stone walls. The robotic camera moved through narrow stone corridors, then suddenly stopped directly in front of it was a sealed stone wall, blocking the path forward completely. Researchers were certain something lay behind this wall. A drill was attached to the robot and carefully bored through the ancient stone to reveal what was beyond it. A camera was pushed through the drilled hole and captured a scene that no human eye had witnessed for 4,500 years. Silence then footage. It is home to 138 pyramids in total. These stone giants have survived dozens of earthquakes, violent sandstorms, and thousands of years of scorching desert heat. Not one of these 138 pyramids has moved, cracked at its foundation, or collapsed. They stand exactly where they were placed thousands of years ago. The tallest and most famous of all is the Great Pyramid of Giza. Its base alone covers 31 acres, the equivalent of 9 full-sized football fields side by side. Approximately 2,300,000 stone blocks were used in its construction. Many of these individual blocks weighed as much as 50 full tons each individually. The total weight of the Great Pyramid is estimated at 60 million tons, equal to the combined weight of 12 Burj Khalifa towers placed together on the same ground. Every face of this pyramid is set at an angle of exactly 51.5 degrees, and every single side aligns precisely with the 4 cardinal directions of Earth. For centuries, researchers struggled with one question: how did the ancient Egyptians align each side of the pyramid perfectly to north, south, east, and west without any compass? Experts believe the architects first searched for land stable enough to bear the weight of 60 million tons without shifting, sinking, or cracking over thousands of years. The ancient Egyptians were extraordinary astronomers. They used circumpolar stars, stars that never set below the horizon, to identify true north with extraordinary precision at night. By marking the easternmost and westernmost positions of a circumpolar star and finding the exact midpoint between them, they identified true north without any instrument except human eyes. The result was a monument whose directional alignment is so precise that modern GPS measurements confirm it sits within a fraction of 1 degree of true north today. The next impossible challenge was leveling the ground. The pyramid's base covers 13 full acres. Even a slight unevenness would make it impossible to stack 2 million stones above it. Had no laser levelers or modern surveying tools. Their solution was water itself. Channels dug across the entire 13-acre site and flooded to create a perfect reference level. Water always finds its own level. Any land rising above the waterline was identified and chipped away with stone hammers until the entire surface matched perfectly across all 13 acres. A second tool was also used: a wooden plank with a stone weight suspended from a rope at its exact center. If the stone hung perfectly centered, the ground was level. The result: the entire 13-acre base of the Great Pyramid is level to within just 21 millimeters across its full perimeter, a precision that challenges modern construction standards even today. With directions set and ground-leveled, construction could begin. But first, millions of stone blocks had to be cut, each weighing up to 50 tons with precision. Square shapes. The Egyptians had no steel. Their cutting tools were made of copper, but they knew copper alone was too soft for stone, so they combined it with acetic acid compounds. These copper tools, hardened with acetic acid, were struck with large wooden mallets against stone surfaces. Hours of sustained work shaped each block into a precise square or rectangular form. Precision was remarkable. Millions of blocks cut with enough consistency that each one sits flush against the next, some joints so tight a piece of paper cannot fit between. What is remarkable is not just that they cut the stones, but that they did so with a consistency allowing 2 million blocks to stack perfectly without gaps or failures. The The highest quality white limestone used on the pyramid's outer surface came from a quarry in Tura, a town located approximately 250 kilometers from the construction site at Giza. Each block of this white limestone from Tura weighed 50 tons, the equivalent weight of 3 fully loaded passenger buses. Millions of these had to reach Giza somehow. The Egyptians had no trucks, trains, or animals powerful enough for such loads. Their solution was the Nile River, nature's own highway, running between the quarry and the pyramid site. Large wooden boats carried the limestone blocks along the Nile. The actual boats used in this operation, preserved in archaeological sites, still exist and can be seen today. Recent excavations at Giza have revealed an actual ancient harbor, real physical evidence of the port, where boats arrived carrying stone blocks from the Tura quarry across the. In 2013, archaeologists also discovered the world's oldest written diary, Inspector Mirror's papyrus logbook, which describes in detail the exact stone transport operations from Tura to Giza by boat. And unloading each 50 tons block onto the boats required the coordinated effort of at least 500 laborers working simultaneously, managing ropes, rollers, wooden sledges, and collective human strength. With stones cut and transported, the next challenge was perhaps the most physically demanding, lifting 50 tons blocks to progressively greater heights as the pyramid grew taller with each layer. The most widely accepted theory is that massive earthen ramps were built, either spiraling around the pyramid's exterior or running in straight lines, allowing blocks to be hauled upward. Teams of hundreds of laborers hauled each block up ramps using ropes, wooden sledges, and coordinated effort, pulling in synchronization under the direction of experienced construction supervisors managing every movement. The workforce was not composed of slaves. Excavations at Giza have uncovered the actual workers' village, complete with bakeries, breweries, medical facilities, and organized living quarters for skilled laborers. The workers even left their names behind. Real graffiti, written by construction gangs in red ochre paint, was found inside the pyramid, the world's oldest worker signatures, preserved in stone. In 2017, the Scan Pyramids project used muon particle detectors to scan the pyramid without touching a single stone, and discovered a previously unknown hidden void inside the structure above the Grand Gallery. The interior of the Great Pyramid contains something even more baffling than the limestone exterior chambers, and entire passages lined with granite, the second hardest natural stone on Earth. This granite came from Aswan, 800 kilometers south of Giza. It is so hard that even today it requires industrial diamond-tipped equipment to cut it cleanly and accurately. Archaeologists from across the world examined the granite surfaces inside the pyramid's chambers. The cuts were clean, the surfaces perfectly smooth, the edges precisely angled. Nobody could explain how. After years of investigation, researchers solved the mystery. The Egyptians used a toothless saw, a flat blade with no teeth, pressed against granite with abrasive sand poured between blade and stone. Workers moved the toothless saw back and forth in slow rhythmic motion. The coarse sand between blade and granite did the actual cutting, molecule by molecule, hour by hour. Research estimates that cutting one large granite block using this method took 4 full months of continuous daily work. Yet the Egyptians cut enough granite to line entire and seal sacred passages. The granite sarcophagus inside the king's chamber is wider than the entrance to the chamber itself, proving it was placed there during construction, before the chamber walls were completed around it. The same robotic camera returned to face the sealed stone slab deep inside the pyramid's shaft, and with its small drill boring carefully through, the camera peered into the space beyond. What the camera found was a small sealed chamber. Its walls were coated in red ochre. The floor showed no disturbance, everything exactly as left 4,500 years ago. Red ochre coating on the walls was the same material used by ancient Egyptian builders to mark measurements and construction guidelines, evidence of intentional design. inside this sealed space. The Great Pyramid still holds secrets. The 2017 Scan Pyramids project discovered a hidden void above the Grand Gallery, a space larger than a passenger aircraft. Completely unknown until that moment. The Grand Gallery itself, a corbelled passage rising nearly 9 meters high inside the pyramid, represents one of the most extraordinary feats of internal stone architecture in human history. The full significance of what lies within the sealed chamber and the deeper purpose behind the entire pyramid's construction continues to be studied by researchers across the world today. The pyramid builders were not slaves. This was proven when archaeologists discovered their actual cemetery beside the pyramid workers buried with honor, their bones showing signs of medical treatment received during construction. Skeletal analysis of the workers showed healed fractures, evidence of medical care provided during construction. These were skilled, compensated laborers, some of the earliest evidence of organized professional labor in history. The workers were fed. Excavations found industrial-scale bakeries and breweries beside the pyramid construction site, producing enough bread and beer daily to sustain a workforce of tens of thousands. Inspector Mirror's papyrus diary from 2013 also shows detailed accounting records, rations given. Workers counted, stone deliveries logged, the most precisely managed construction project the ancient world had ever attempted. The logistics of this entire operation, coordinating workers, boats, quarries, and millions of stone deliveries over 20 years, represent one of the greatest projects and achievements in all of human history. The coordination required thousands of workers, hundreds of boats, millions of deliveries, was accomplished over 20 years without a single computer, engine, or piece of modern equipment, only human intelligence. The 51.5-degree angle of each pyramid face was not chosen randomly. This precise angle distributes the weight of 60 million tons across the base, with mathematical perfection making it earthquake-resistant. Egypt has experienced dozens of earthquakes since the pyramid was built. Every time, it has remained completely undamaged, no crack in the foundation, no shift in alignment. Standing still, precise. Above the king's chamber, 5 separate relieving chambers were built, distributing the enormous weight of stone above the room and protecting it from collapse for 4,500 years continuously. The original capstone, the very top stone of the Great Pyramid, is missing. What covered the pyramid's pinnacle for 4,500 years remains one of history's unsolved mysteries. The 3 Giza pyramids align precisely with the 3 stars of Orion's belt, a celestial pattern the ancient Egyptians associated with Osiris, god of the afterlife and eternal resurrection. 138 pyramids still stand across Egypt today. Each one is a monument not just to stone and labor, but to the extraordinary power of the human mind. No computers, no machines, no engines, no modern tools of any kind, just intelligence, organization, patience, and an unshakable human will to build something the world had never seen before. 4,500 years later, the pyramids are still standing, still precise, still perfectly aligned, still earthquake-resistant, still holding secrets that science has not fully uncovered even today. And inside that sealed chamber, beyond the stone slab where the robot camera peered into 4,500-year-old darkness, the full story of what was found waits in Part 2. They had no computers, no machines, no modern tools, just intelligence and the will to build something that would last forever. 4,500 years later, they were right.